Greetings, family. So, in my last vlog, I spoke about how important it is to listen to your ancestors, that they are behind you at all times, pushing you, encouraging you, and urging you, and trying to support the decisions that you're making in your life. Now, they have a lot of messages that have been coming through me, and so today I'm going to be talking to you about how to begin working with your ancestors. So, the first way I'm going to say to begin working with your ancestors is altar work. When we're thinking about altars, sometimes it can get a little mystical in the way that we're thinking about it, but really it's actually quite simple. Now, if you think about your family home that you grew up in or your grandmother's house, there's always that area in the living room where there are a stack of photos lined up of the elders, and sometimes there are living family members there as well. But essentially, what is operating there is an altar, a connection to those that came before us. We've always had these spaces in our homes which have acted like altars. They literally are an embodiment of a collection of the souls who came through that ancestry bloodline, all united together. It is literally like you have organized a family reunion on your wall. There's a reason why we've been ancestrally doing that, because even though we might not be consciously aware of it, we know. And we know that it's important. So it's important for us in the next generation to make sure we continue those traditions and carry them on. Altars are literally a portal or a window into the other side. And so what you do with that window, i.e. the photo, the frame, and the image, that's our window. However you activate that window and put your intention into that window is how more powerful it will be, and how more greater assistance and closer connection you can have with your ancestors. So your altars are acting like a window or a portal for which your ancestors can come through and work with you. It's a space for you to celebrate their energy, their essence, who they were on earth. You're going to put things on that altar that you know they liked. If they smoke cigars, you'd put a cigar. You know they like roses. You might keep putting fresh roses whenever you have them. You're going to have a water element. Sometimes a water element really works really well. A little bowl of water. I like to put rum. My ancestors are Jamaican, so them love some real nephews rum. You know what I mean? I had to spice it up the other day and give them some rivers after I came back from Grenada, and they loved that. Rum, brandy, or spirits are called spirit for a reason, okay? And they really do help enhance the connection to the spirit realm. This is why they've been used for so many years in our rituals and our practices. So I like to put some liquor on my altars. And another thing is a candle. The candle is the most important part. Okay, so you're going to light your candle, and it's literally like you are illuminating their soul when you light that candle. You are connecting, you are celebrating, you are speaking to the soul who came through that body in that incarnation, in that lifetime. And there's a reason you want to connect. There it is. So you're going to get the photo of your ancestor. You're going to place it on an altar. Now, when we talk about altars and the position of altars, one thing we need to be clear about. Now, if you're living in a shared house and you only have access to a room that is just yours, you might have an altar space in your room. I did that when I was growing up with my family for years. If you have your own home and you have communal rooms, I would say your ancestor altar should be in the communal room. Your ancestors don't really want to be hanging around when you're doing your nighttime activities and business, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to get involved in all of that stuff. However, they do understand if that's the only space you have, then make it work. If you have your own home and you have access to communal shared spaces, you would ideally want to put your ancestor altar in a communal space. However, there is an exception. And I would say that was when they have recently departed, and they were someone who was very, very close to you. Someone who's just passed away, who you were very intimately close to. That's your parent, that's your best friend, that's your child, you know, your partner. You might want them closer to you just when they pass. I feel like it just enhances the experience, and they're going to be around you anyway. You know, when they just pass, they spend a lot of time close to us on the earth realm, and they have a duty to help us sort of work through that grieving period. And so you will feel them around you, which is another thing that I want to talk about, and that is about how to begin sensing them and feeling them. Now, I think my strongest clair was always clairsentience. So I would feel them around me. I would feel a warmth, an intensity. I could feel them holding me, hugging me. Now, even if your sensitivity level is not that high, I know a lot of people have felt something like that when one of their loved ones have passed away. You just get a feeling, a warmth, an intensity. You know your ancestor and you know their energy signature. So you know what it will look like for them to show up, what it would feel like. You know what that feels like. And so when you sense it around and you just feel like, I feel like she's around me, trust and believe they are there. Not only are they there, but you can communicate with them. You can tell them, talk to them. I talk to my ancestors all the time. I was speaking to my ancestors all the time, long before I was able to hear back what they were saying. And sometimes they would give me signs and signals that would help me to know that they're listening, they understand, they agree, they disagree. So next we're going to talk about the signs and the signals. So number 2, the second thing that I would recommend in connecting with your ancestors is to pay attention to signs and signals. Signs and signals is key. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Okay, so if you are not in the most highest frequency state where you can hear them clairaudient, or you can see them clairvoyant, or you can have any of these other higher senses that are working, that's not something to be too concerned about. Ancestors find their way to get their messages to you. So one of the number one ways that I notice that they connect is through devices, okay? Because they're in spirit form, they can see the waves that are connecting to your phone. So when you're on that phone call and you start talking about something that you shouldn't be talking about to the wrong person, and it all of a sudden cuts, and you're like, man, the timing of that was kind of like, maybe I shouldn't be talking about that. That's your ancestors. Most of the time, that is your ancestors. Yes, they can interrupt phone calls. They can just go in and get the wave and go, okay. See, we are asking them to support us. We're asking them to guide us. They form part of our galactic guidance team. And so the way that they guide is very different to the way that spirit guides guide. You know, they can guide in a more intimate way, shall we say. And obviously, if you're connecting with them and you're asking for their support, then they're going to do this more. So the more that you acknowledge them and the more that you see the signs and signals, it's going to make a big difference to you. Okay, so they can disconnect phone calls. They can mess with televisions. One of the most common ways that they like to communicate is with lights. Okay, that's the lights flashed. The lights just switched on and off. The light was flickering. Okay, or you had a candle lit and the candle was flickering. Or, you know, they do stuff like that all the time. I've actually even seen my mum move stuff, things that are light. Maybe I've got like a little plastic bag sitting somewhere, you know, because it's very easy to move because it's very light and it just goes, right? But it's the timing. When those things happen, you need to pay attention to the timing. What was you thinking? What was you doing? What was somebody saying? Because they're trying to get the message based upon what was just happening and to get you to know that I didn't like that. I don't think that's good for you. You need to pay more attention to that. You need to do more of that. Or that is good for you. Do more of that. Hang out with this person. So, you know, there's all these different ways which they're trying to connect. While we're on the topic of interference, I have to talk about how, and this is me working with my mum, or my ancestors that I have specifically told I want support with certain things. So say, like I've said, I need some support with my diet. I'm trying to get my diet clean. I'm trying to cut out dairy. Okay. I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. I've told them my intentions. I've made it clear what I want and what I need. Now, and they have another level of seeing. So they can see also the foods that are working well for your body and the foods that aren't. They are really good accountability partners. And what I mean say is once you've tuned into their frequency, you can be at that fridge and you can be like, yeah, so I'm going to have my cheese and crackers now. And you feel the ancestor over your shoulder like, you're going to do what? I thought we weren't eating dairy. That shit happens to me all the time and I think it's hilarious. Oh, you want to go to McDonald's? You want KFC? It's just not going to happen under the ancestors' watch. And especially if you're dealing with ancestors who, oh, your parent or your grandparents, so you know they had a certain way with you when you was growing up. So they have a way of showing that they are just disappointed or frustrated, or they don't like something, or why you not listen to me. All right. And it really, really helps. They can really help you ace your goals. I'm telling you, you've got a whole support system out there, people. A whole support. You guys are out there fighting it out, trying to do this whole thing on yourself. Meanwhile, you got a whole team who's just sitting back there like, yeah, what do you want? What do you need? I got you. Right? You don't have to do this on your own. You're not alone. You're never alone. Ever. And I'm talking about your ancestor guides, okay? But you've got spirit guides, angel. Look, we're not even going to get into the list of the whole galactic team because that's for another vlog. But today we're talking about the ancestors, and they have really called me to make this message to you guys. I really hope you're going to hear it loud and clear and really begin tuning into them. This is something that all of us can do. We all have ancestors that came before us. It doesn't matter your spiritual background. It doesn't matter how you see the divine creator, God, source, universe. It doesn't matter about any of those things. Okay? It does not conflict with any of those things. They're your loved ones. Okay? And even though they're not in the physical flesh, they are with you in spirit. And they wish you well. They want well for you. They want you to ace your goals. They want you to complete what you came to the planet to do. Okay? I think it was my teacher that Miss Blue says, we've come to activate our ancestors' dormant power. So when you ace your goals and you move forward, you move the whole bloodline forward. You're going to notice that. You're going to notice that when you expand and you raise your vibration and you're connecting to God, source, the universe, and you are becoming a lot more grounded, that the people that are close to you, all right, intimately close to you or in your bloodline, are also getting an upgrade. They're getting an upgrade through you. Okay, so this is so important, especially if you have children. So you have someone who you're leaving a legacy to. It is really important to do this work and to let them know how to do this work and to let them grow up in an environment where they are always in connection with their ancestors, because you know your children can see those ancestors from the moment they get here. They're very aware. Oh, it's granddaddy, or it's the great grandma. It's the one with the hat, or the one with the they see them. We help them to tune that out and become numb to all of this. So the more you do your work, the more you will keep them in line with that. The more you will help them expand and stay in that state of awareness. It's so important. So talking more about the work they do and the things that they do in the background, they can help you with your legal cases. Okay? They can be in the background working with the ancestors of the people who are working on your case, with their guides, their support teams. They can be in the background, dude. They're the movers and shakers, okay? They can help you with your work situations. You're looking for a job. You're trying to get a job. They can send opportunities your way. And one of my favorite things that they love to do is hook people up. When Mimi said them, there's the biggest hookups, all right? Nothing sweeter than an ancestral hookup. All right. Now, by an ancestral hookup, I mean they send people into your life that they know are good for you, that they know they're going to help you ascend, that are going to take you to another level, that you've got something to learn from, that can help you with this next piece of the journey that you're on. Best believe you want that. And a lot of the times, because we're not tapped in and we're not tuned in, they could be sending these opportunities and these people and these places our way, and we're rejecting them or we're pushing them away because other things that we have going on. You need to listen and tap in. Listen and tap in, okay? Because especially those that were close to you on earth, they know you very well, okay? So they know what works for you. To an extent, they do. And they really can support you in finding what the people and the places, the tribe, okay, your divine partner, your life partners, everything. And they love that, by the way. Like, They like love nothing more than to hook people up. I bring them so much joy, and bring full grandbabies and things like that. Them love it. So the third thing that I'm going to talk about is acknowledgement. Acknowledgement, acknowledgement, acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is the glue that makes your work with your ancestors come alive. You must acknowledge their presence. So every time you see that divine signal that it comes through, you're going to be like, is that you, mum? Is that you, auntie? Oh, I know that's you, auntie. I think you're saying that. Talk to them, even if you can't hear them. Okay? And that may change over time. But even if you can't hear them, talk to them. Oh, you're saying you don't agree? You can get a feeling sometimes, like a feeling that maybe they don't agree, or a feeling that they do agree, okay? Or a feeling that they're smiling from the inside out and they're so happy for you and they really feel like this is a good direction for you and they want you to do more of it and keep going in that trajectory. But the more that you acknowledge at each step, say it out loud, communicate with them, tell them that you see them, tell them that you're aware, and also show them that you're grateful. Be grateful for the support that they're giving to you. Express your gratitude on a regular basis out loud in your journal. You got a gratitude jar. You got a gratitude journal. Express your gratitude for the ancestors that are coming through for you every day. How they came through for you on earth and how they're continuing to come through for you on the other side. Be grateful. That acknowledgement and that gratitude goes a long way. It solidifies your connection. Okay, and it also helps them know that you understand, and if they know that you understand, then they can do more for you and they can do more work for you. Okay, so we're going to acknowledge our ancestors. All right, so we're going to run that through from the top. Number one in communicating your ancestors was altars. Number two, signs and signals. Pay attention to signs and signals. And number three, acknowledgement. Acknowledge them and be grateful. Okay, Dwana Terashe, I love you, family. Blessings.